Greetings, comrades, and welcome to the Rad Gaming Podcast. I'm Pescador, and in this episode of the podcast, we talk to Luxin Phoenix. Luxin Phoenix is a streamer for the 8-Bit Dojo and a little bit of an audio junkie. In this episode of the podcast, we talk about proper etiquette when it comes to co-streaming, some of the nostalgic games we played growing up, and we talked about how to make your audio for any content creation sound better. Support for the Rad Gaming Podcast comes from Manscaped, who is the best in the men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your sensitive areas. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not barbarians. We gotta make sure that we are well-groomed, and that is precisely why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. Their Lawnmower 2.0 has proprietary skin-safe technology so that trimmers won't nick and snag your sensitive areas. Manscaping accidents are finally a thing of the past. Guys, don't use the same trimmer you use on your face as you do in your nether region. That's just nasty. Manscaped also offers other items such as anti-chafing deodorant and moisturizer. Guys, you already put deodorant in your armpits. Why are you not putting deodorant on other parts of your body that do smell as well? Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code BIGHEADS at manscaped.com. Guys, you always have to use the right tools for the job. Your sensitive areas will thank you. I promise you that. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com with the code BIGHEADS. That is BIGHEADS. Also, the Rad Gaming Podcast is sponsored by Cento Fiore. Cento Fiore is the lifestyle, is the fashion brand, and they have a ton of comfortable clothing. I just purchased myself some sandals from Cento Fiore, and they are extremely comfortable. You need to pick yourself up a pair of them. If you don't have them already, they are amazing. I wear them everywhere. That is CENTO-FIORI.com. Also, the Rad Gaming Podcast is part of Big Heads Media. With that said, on to the podcast. So why don't you just tell us about yourself?
Right on. So, yeah, I'm Luxin Phoenix. I've been streaming, I would say on and off for probably, probably 4 years, maybe 5 years. Had a lot of things in my life that, good and bad, that have changed up my ability to do so. My first attempt at streaming, I was in a house where I was getting like 4 upload, which for anyone that's listening that is not familiar with the streaming side of Twitch, 4 upload is just about enough to stream in 480 with no interruptions, and that's if you're lucky. And then from there, I moved to a new place with my family, and even there, I think we went up to 6 upload, which was enough to stream in 720, but I was fighting it. And then in order to be in a better position personally, I had to pick up more work. I was actually working two jobs. If you want to get super technical, 3 to 4.
Oh, wow.
Because I was coaching a high school drum line in addition to 2 seasonal jobs, in addition to a restaurant job I was working. And Jeez. So, a lot of my viewers know I went down to about twice a month for almost a year. It was heartbreaking, man. I love streaming. I love my community. So to use up my time just kind of working my life away and get what felt like nowhere, that kind of sucked. But led me to where I'm at now, which is at just enough saved up to get myself out of the state. And I went from California to Arizona. I'm living with a good friend of mine, and now I can pretty much stream as much as I want. Still trying to pick up as many shifts as possible, so I'm not in a bad way. But once I just got a new job, I actually literally did my second day of training yesterday. And
wow.
Once the schedule set, I'll be good to go.
So now, how often do you stream?
Still kind of up in the air, unfortunately. I wish I had a schedule to throw out. I went from about twice a month to about 2 or 3 times a week again. Still very inconsistent. It's kind of just hey, I'm live. Here's a Twitter post, guys. If you're around, come hang out. I would love to get a schedule. That's my biggest goal. is a schedule.
Do you think that would help improve your numbers?
I don't know if it would improve my numbers so much as personable accountability for consistency, as well as I know there's a lot of times where, like my community has told me before, hey, it really helps when you post that you went live because Twitch doesn't give me notifications or whatever, right? Even if it's a week to week schedule that changes and I post it every whatever Sunday night, at least then people know like, hey, if I go to his channel on this day at this time, I'm not working, he'll be live.
Yeah. And we know that numbers technically aren't anything. We can see tons of streamers that do have high numbers, but interaction is what you want. Friendships are what you want. So do you find that your true friends stick around and actually watch you stream? They come in every so often? Absolutely.
That's one of my favorite things about my community specifically. And I'm sure a lot of people could say the same thing, but a lot of streamers, they strive for that kind of fan base, right? Because anyone can go from playing. I'll give you the perfect example. My favorite streamer, I won't use her name, but my favorite streamer, she was a League of Legends streamer for years. And just like everyone else, Fortnite came out and League, everyone hated it and got pissed off, and they went to Fortnite. She switched to Fortnite, and a lot of her regulars left because they don't play Fortnite, they don't watch Fortnite, they like League. And a lot of streamers go through that. You switch up your games. That's kind of the hardest part about being variety. New game comes out, you play that game, you pick up the people that want to see that game, but the second you go to something else, maybe they don't come back. So everyone wants that recurring viewer, that chatter that comes back, likes you for you. And I think that's probably my favorite thing about my community is that the people that do stick around have stuck around with me and become friends. And I probably swap my games more than most people. I'm all over the place.
So what's your current game that you're playing right now that you're really, really into?
So it was Borderlands 3.
That's a good call.
And oh my God, I'm obsessed with the Borderlands series, man. Me and my buddy, I say it every time I'm streaming it and people ask me, but yeah, me and my buddy beat the first one 18 times. Not
18?
18,
wow.
not including solo play and half playthroughs. So yeah.
Oh, is this a co-op? You're talking about 18 times in co-op.
18 times co-op between.
Oh man, that's awesome though.
Yeah.
That's like me in the original Halo, man. Couch playing. Oh man, I would play that game over and over and over again. But no, I don't blame you. Do you guys play on PS4?
So when we did the 18 runs, it was actually on Xbox, but now I have it on PC, and 3 is on PC. I've been playing with Flib actually, Flib D Flam, for anyone that doesn't know, and I was doing that. Now I was on that Pokemon grind for a little bit, and now I'm shiny hunting because I took a page out of his book.
So did you guys do co-streaming? Like I know Flib D Flam streams.
Yeah.
So do you guys stream at the same time?
No, I'm usually a little bit earlier than Flib is. So if anything, it would be like we would play either offline or not. We would play, and I if I went live, I'd be live, and we'd hang out. And then by the time I end, he starts. So usually I would end stream and get off, and then he would go and stream whatever he had planned for the day.
Did you raid him?
Sometimes,
yeah, that's a good call.
It works perfectly when it's like that, especially when they're teammates that you're already supporting. And me and Flip have grown to be really, really good friends. I love the dude. So
absolutely, yeah. So you were saying that you're a variety streamer. You change up your games quite frequently, and you said that sometimes people don't follow you over. How did you find that you got the most amount of people? What did it for you? What brought the most amount of people back to your streams, even if they didn't technically want to see whatever game you were playing? They just wanted to come to watch you.
I would like to believe it's the fact that I'm a nice person. Man, I don't know. It's a good question. And sometimes, you get into that mindset of like, as boohoo me as it sounds, sometimes you sit back and you're like, God, what did I do to deserve this? 'Cause you get
right.
Yeah.
I sit there and wonder all the time, man.
Yeah. You get those people that come back and, like I said, most of them have become very good friends of mine. I know a lot of people like to keep their, streaming persona versus real life you is very, very, not very, very different in that, oh, I'm a different person on stream, but you kind of keep the life separate. You know, you have to be private for safety, if anything else.
Of course, yeah.
But, you know, I get to the point where a lot of my viewers, you might be a regular for a month, maybe two. And I've got people message me offline, hang out, play games. You never know the kind of relationships you'll build on this platform. It's kind of crazy, but that's my favorite part. So I think for me, to answer your question, my biggest hit, like if I had to pinpoint myself to a niche, you know, everyone's got their niche, right? Someone, you Flib's a speedrunner, and some people do, you know, I'm a Dead by Daylight streamer, or I'm a League of Legends streamer. I never really found my niche, but I think the one thing that I was most successful with is anytime I do an RPG playthrough. I had a lot of, I guess if you want to call it success. I had never played a Kingdom Hearts game, and everyone was telling me right before 3 came out, you know, all the hype was building up.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. And I said, you know what? I ran out of stuff to do on stream. Screw it. I'm going to buy every single Kingdom Hearts game, and I'm going to play through the entire series right up until 3 comes out, and then I'll play through 3 on stream. And I actually, side note, that happened remember I said I was down to like 2 streams a month. I managed to sneak in extra for that. So I was doing maybe 3 to 5 a month, give or take. And I managed to finish like a week or 2 before 3 came out. I mean, I couldn't have lined it up more perfectly. And I think that's where I got most of my returning people love watching me play through, because my community knows I am known for tilting. I will hardcore tilt. My first emote was actually made for me by a good friend and a viewer who recommended it, and it's Luxin Tilt, and it is character Phoenix who just looks tilted, and I loved it. I will never get rid of that emote. But it's funny because people come back to listen to me rant and complain. I don't know why, but that's just kind of my thing.
Is there a rant or specific tangent you went off of that everyone like comes back and says, dude, I know you from this, like you definitely inspired me to just rant about this game because, you know, I heard it from you?
No, not yet, but I definitely have pushed people away with rants. It's something I got to be careful about too, because sometimes I just go for a little too long. Perfect example, I won't get into it, but a perfect example would be Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah,
I know one of my buddies is going to probably listen to this podcast and either facepalm or turn it off, but Final Fantasy VIII, I played through the entire game on stream and I hated every single second of it. I'm so sorry to anyone listening that loves that game. I could not find my 3 redeeming qualities for that game, because I told everyone I had none, and then I made a promise to my friend that I would find at least one. Redeeming qualities: the original soundtrack was amazing, as is pretty much every Final Fantasy, and Triple Triad. But my argument to Triple Triad is that I play the MMO 14, and I can actually play Triple Triad in the MMO, so kind of loses its ability to fight for my love there.
Yeah. So I played 8 a little bit. I wasn't everything it cracked out to be in my eyes. Not to say I didn't hate it. I did like it, but 7 is my baby. I love 7. Yeah. So they're remaking 7, which I'm super stoked for. You gonna get it? You gonna play it on stream?
Absolutely. Dude, I wish I had that kind of money that I could get people are talking about that $300.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's super. I knew exactly what you were gonna say as soon as you said it.
Whatever.
Yeah, no, I can't. I can't buy that, unfortunately. But
me neither. Oh God, I would love to though. But yeah, oh hell yeah, I plan on getting it. I plan on streaming it. That's one of those games, you know, a lot of streamers talk about like oversaturation and growth, and that's one of those games where you just kind of say, screw it. I'm right there with everybody else. I have to. That game is going to be phenomenal. I can't wait. I'm not worried about it. Are you at all? Like a lot of people talking about things they think are, you know.
I'm really sad that I'm not sure if it's true. I haven't looked it up yet because I'm really afraid to look it up, to be honest. I know they're going away from the turn-based style gameplay that it used to have, and they're going to more of a hack and slash feel. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. If that's the case, I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I haven't looked it up yet. Is that true?
Kind of, but it's actually really cool how they did it, because I'll tell you what, after the podcast I'll send you the trailer, but there's a trailer where they go over combat and how they decide to do it. And
Oh,
it's actually
please.
really cool.
I shied away from that trailer for so long. I'm like, I'm going to hate it if I watch this, because if it's hack and slash and not turn-based, I'm going to be super upset.
So it's hack and slash in the same way that 15 was hack and slash. Did you play 15?
Yes. And I did like it, though.
It's kind of like that in that you can hack and slash, but comboing will get you more out of it.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing though. They added the ability to, so as you do basic attacks with Cloud, you basically build this menu meter. And when that's full, you can basically slow, almost freeze time.
Ooh.
And then do your menu inputs from there. It's kind of hard to explain. You got to watch.
No, it kind of makes sense. I want to see how it's carried out, just because, like I said, 7 was my favorite Final Fantasy, and I knew it when I grew up playing this on the PlayStation. I saw it as it was a turn-based game at that point in time. So you get to pick your attacks before you attacked, and then they would attack you, and then you keep on going until some team perished. And in my eyes, them redoing the game and them changing that kind of play style kind of upsets me, just because that's why I love that game. It was so much fun because of that, because you had to be very tactical. You're like, oh no, they only have this much health left and I need to use this specific attack right now because this will take that much health possibly away. That was my favorite part about it, though, like being tactical. But
yeah. Well, see, and I'll agree with you as far as, like, I'm a diehard turn-based fan. That's why 10 was the first one I ever played, easily one of my favorites. And I might be a little biased because I am a true believer that ATB, which is the bar system that 7 used and basically 4 through 9 used. I hated ATB. Honestly, I hate it because I feel like I felt like it was a rip-off turn-based, where, you know, it gives you time to be tactical, but like early game when no one has moves, you give your inputs, but then you got to wait for that bar, and it just kind of becomes a staring contest. It feels like a waste.
It can be, yeah. I think that could have been planned a little better, and I do agree with that.
But I think, I think that, like, a lot of people were saying, you know, modern time video games like turn-based would never last and ATB would never last. On the one hand, I could see that. I could see why they would want to update it and why they would want to change it. On the other hand, I think it's a load of BS, because look at Persona 5. Persona 5 is turn-based, and that game everyone loved that game. And now, personally, I haven't played it. I've seen it, but they got away with it, so why not?
I mean, this day and age, everything's so overplayed. Like, if you look at all the Battle Royale games, like, as soon as one came out, like, all the other ones came on the market. There was Fortnite, PUBG, like even Call of Duty started doing it. H1Z1, like, everything just was all on the market at the same time. Same with every style. Like, if you look at survival horror games, like, a ton of them hit the market at the same time. They saw one was successful. They're like, oh, let's go all in on it. So I want something old, man. I love the old style.
Now you got like all the auto chess too. Like, yeah, no, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I agree. One idea flourishes and everyone latches onto it. There's not a whole lot of originals anymore.
No, and there's a lot of remakes. Like, even Resident Evil 3 is being remade. And like Final Fantasy 7, Resident Evil 3. It's just like games like that. I understand. I love those games, and I'm happy to see them being remade. Yeah. But like, at the same time, like, have you played, I know you like RPG games. Have you played The Outer Worlds yet?
I haven't played it yet. I've watched it. I've heard good things. And
it's good. I just started playing it. I bought it a while back, and I just sat down literally last night and started playing it. That game is extremely fun because it has, like, it's kind of like, it's a lot of Fallout mixed with a little bit of BioShock. So, like, it's a really neat combo between the two, and I actually really enjoy this game. And it's kind of like like taking two different concepts and kind of combining them is what makes me happy. Things that will work, but like they're still not kind of done yet. Like kind of like Anthem. Anthem was going to be this awesome game. It was going to be something super new, had an awesome concept, just unfortunately didn't perform well when they launched it. So, man. But that's the risks, I guess, that they're afraid to take anymore, if you think about it. I mean...
Yeah.
Because look at everyone was so excited about Anthem, and then all of a sudden it came out and boom, like they did so bad, and now I just saw Anthem on sale on Black Friday for $5.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, it's hard to be honest. It's hard to, as an avid gamer, it is hard to feel bad for them when you look at things like speaking of my rants. This is one of my trigger buttons.
Oh boy, let's do it.
Destiny, dude. Destiny 2 came out, and I was the first. Like, all my friends were excited. They wanted to get Destiny 2. And I said, yeah, you out of your damn mind, because you're a sucker and you're giving them money for nothing. I call it Destiny 1.5, the remaking. It's a joke. When Destiny came out, it was a phenomenal video game.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. I loved Destiny. And then they would come out with whatever, I forget what the first expansion was. Was it Wolves something? House of Wolves? Was it? I can't remember if that was the first one or not.
I think so. Something like that. I don't remember, to be honest.
They had the 3 before Taken King, the 2 or 3 before Taken King. And I got the first one, and I'm like, heck yeah, new content. And it lasted me about 4 days before I had done everything. And then the next few were the same. I'm like, why am I giving them $40 for each of these games? It's like nothing. And so I stopped playing it. When Taken King came out, my buddy goes, dude, Taken King has changed the entire game. It's what the game should have been on release. And I went, well, then why wasn't it that game on release? He goes, no, trust me, it fixed the game. You got to play it. And I said, I'm not giving them more money. So he buys it for me.
Oh, man. Yeah, there you go.
Talk about dedication.
Yeah.
And so we go to play through the game again. And sure enough, it was like a few weeks later, I was done with it. Well, when Destiny 2 got announced, everyone lost their minds. Oh my God, new Destiny. And I looked at it and I went, guys, have you seen the trailer? You've got the same classes with the same maps, with the same subclasses. And everyone's like, no. It's different. Trust me, it's different. And I went, okay, let's use the Hunter, for example, right? You look at the Arc subclass, that's the lightning one, right? It's the same class. And they went, no. In the first Destiny, it was dual swords. And in this one, it's a bow staff. And I went, cool. So they gave you a different weapon, but all of the attack animations are the same, literally. And then you look at one of the grenades, it's the same as the solar grenade from the first one. All they did was recolor it blue. And people bought it, man. People ate it up. And I'm like, you guys are going to hate it. And sure enough, everyone hated it. And now it's free. Like, I don't know.
I mean, it's same concept of Call of Duty. They just keep on pumping them out. I mean, even like, listen, I love Battlefield more than Call of Duty. Like I used to be a huge Call of Duty person, went over to Battlefield. And now I'm kind of like done with both of them just because they just keep on doing like, it's the same stuff over and over again. Yeah. And it's sad. It's sad to see that. And, I can see what you're saying about Destiny. They did remake a lot of the animations that I saw previously, even the first one. But it's just the fact that I think that the idea of the raids is what keeps people going. I can't stand raiding people. Like I can't stand raiding. I can't do it. I get like frustrated because I have I have a finite or not an infinite amount of time, excuse me. And I can't sit down for 4 hours, keep on wiping on a single boss and be like, hey guys, we can't do this tonight. Let's come back and do 4 hours tomorrow. I just like, it's so crushing to me. Like I want to get somewhere in a game. So when I raid, I can't do it. Like I will raid and I like to raid sometimes, but like doing, like if you can't beat a boss in like 4 or 5 hours, like that's demoralizing to me. So, well,
and here's another way to look at it is even if you do, like the one thing I never understood about raiding in any game, because I like you know, I'll do it. I'll have fun doing it with the people I'm doing it with, but the concept kind of blows my mind, right? You spend all this time gearing up for a raid, and then you go and do the raid, and what do you get out of the raid? More gear for raiding. It's this endless cycle.
Or nothing, because I've done it multiple times, and like I'm just like, oh, I can get these rare boots, and then like they drop, like I'll do it like 4 times, and I'll spend like 4 hours each time. So, you know, I spent 16 hours playing this game, this raid, and I'm just like, yes, these boots are going to drop. They have to, and they don't. I'm like, I'm done. I can't do it. Yeah. 16 hours gone, and I still haven't got these stupid boots I want. So,
yeah. Dude, okay, question. You mentioned Battlefield. Thoughts on Battlefield Vietnam? Way back.
Oh, man.
Way back.
I'll be 100% honest. Like, I liked Battlefield back in the day, so anything that involved Battlefield, I loved it. So I was on board with Battlefield Vietnam. I really liked it because it had a different aspect, just because it was a different type of game back in the day.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
just like the concepts of people not being able to or just taking a vehicle into battle just blew my mind. So much fun.
You know, it's crazy to me that all these new games. You ever notice how some older games had little quality of life things that like we almost went backwards. You know, I expect like a new game to come out and they add these tiny little quality of life things, and I feel like we've removed a lot. So perfect example, Vietnam. For anyone that hasn't played Battlefield Vietnam, I think it was an expansion of 1942, wasn't it? Which sounds ridiculous if you know history, but
I believe it was.
So Battlefield Vietnam came out, and if you got in a vehicle, any vehicle, helicopter, plane, little Jeep on the ground, you could actually hit your number pad and it would open a little radio menu and you could play music while you were going around. And I don't know, small little quality of life things like that I love. But one of my, that leads to great memories. One of my favorite memories, like the second you said Battlefield, man, I had a cheesy ass smile on. But me and my buddies, we used to go to a little net center in the town I grew up in. And we used to always play Battlefield Vietnam.
Yeah.
And one of the things we used to do is it was three of us, and my buddy Brian used to be stupid good at flying the helicopters. The one with the little. There was one that was like a cargo helicopter, double bladed cargo.
What was it? Yeah.
It was like the Chinook or something.
Yeah, it's Chinook.
You could actually in the game lower a little like wire crane to pick up vehicles. Two of my favorite things to do in that game, the first one being my buddy who was stupid good at flying the helicopter would actually pick me up in a tank. You could lift tanks in that game, and I would get in the tank gunner, and I would let him pick me up and fly me around the map, and I would just be a flying tank destroying stuff. That was stupid. But me and my buddies, the three of us, we made a game called Cops and Robbers. Me and my buddy would spawn on the map. Me and my buddy Kevin would spawn in. We'd get in a Jeep and we'd start driving around the map. Somewhere on the other side of the map would be Brian in his helicopter. And he would have to come find us and either pick us up or crash into us, which, by the way, is not as easy as it sounds. And so I just remember, we'd be driving around, and a couple minutes goes by, and my buddy Kevin would go, God, how has Brian not found us yet? Yeah, where is he? And all of a sudden, you just gradually hear from nothing to loud, Flight of the Valkyries, because it was one of the songs you could play on the radio. And you turn your character's vision around and just see a fat helicopter right on your rear bumper. Oh man!
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And even like when you said like little nuances in the game that really changes the way it plays. Like I remember when I was a kid, I played Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and I would drive around town. Like even in Vice City, I listened to Billie Jean. Like I I make sure I turn whatever, I can't remember what station it was, but I'd just run around on like the town, like just like doing gun cheats and stuff, blowing up cars and stuff, listening to Billie Jean. Like I remember that, man. Like I just like stuff like that. So much fun. But no, what my friends used to do, I don't believe it was in Vietnam, Battlefield Vietnam, but I remember it was in one of the Battlefield games. We would put C4 on the vehicle, and then we would drive it. Like we'd put a ton of it on, and then we would just drive it at enemies, like just an area where we know they're like hunkered in, and we just drive it right into them and just blow it up. Or like even tanks, like if a tank was coming down the road, and we would just swerve all over the road to try to avoid the tank shooting us, and then just run the vehicle in and blow up C4. It was so much fun. I had so much fun doing that.
So man. Have you ever played Ghost Recon Wildlands? So,
I played a little bit of it. I've mostly played the newest one, which is Breakpoint, but yeah.
Which I just picked up. Me and my buddies loved Wildlands, and in Wildlands you can actually do the same thing. You can put C4 on vehicles. I don't think it detonates on impact. I think it has to be shot or detonated. But I actually have a clip of me and my buddy. I put C4 on the hood, and I was driving down the street, and one of the enemy vehicles we came up on it.
Yeah.
And so I like pedal to the metal, drove up, and I was yelling at my buddy, get out, get out, get out. And both of us get out, and I throw the car into them, and meanwhile I'm holding the button to detonate, and it catches up to them and blows up both cars. That's one of my favorite clips.
Oh man, that's awesome. I was hoping you're gonna say, did you ever see Saving Private Ryan?
I haven't.
Okay, well, there's just one part in the movie at the very end. Spoiler alert: this movie's super old, so anyone that is gonna be upset for me spoiling it, too bad for you. It's such an old movie. There's a part in there that there's a sniper in the tower, and he basically runs out of bullets, and he's just like looking at this tank, staring up at him in the clock tower, and he yells at his buddy, "Get out!" And obviously the tank shoots a shell inside the top of the clock tower, and it blows up. I thought you were going to say that. I thought you were going to be like saying you strapped C4 and you're telling your buddy, get out of the vehicle, and as soon as they shot your vehicle, it just exploded. That would have been really good too, but no, that sounds pretty awesome. Do you play with most of your friends on stream?
Depends on what I'm playing. A lot of the times, no. There's or at least not those friends. Like I have a lot of friends. God, that sounds awful. No, they don't really stream or like our schedules conflict or what have you. If I'm streaming with anybody, it's usually other streamers that I've become friends with.
Yeah.
Perfect example would be the other night. I did my second playthrough of, I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of For the King.
I don't think I have, actually.
Great little game. But but me and two of my other buddies that stream, we just did our second start to finish playthrough of that. It's cool, man. It's like, have you ever played Divinity?
Yeah, I love Divinity.
So it's a lot like Divinity, except it's more like Divinity is free movement until you get into combat.
Yes.
Whereas For the King is it's like a hex board, almost like you would see in like Civil.
Is it like, I was just saying, it's in Civ, like Civ. I played Civ a lot, and it's kind of like that's okay.
So yeah, same type of board, very very different play. So you have your character. There's different classes to pick from, and you can. So it's a party of 3, and you can either get a party of 3 like we did, and each person controls one character, or like if you wanted to play solo, you control 3 different characters. But it's turn-based down to the board movement. So you roll, you get RNG roll based on your movement stat, and then you move across this board, and there's different turns. It goes from day to night, and it controls different aspects of the map. But there's 3 different maps, and each map has a different story. So that's what we did. We did our second map playthrough, basically, from start to final boss. Beat both, did not lose, did not die to the boss, so that was good. But yeah, man, it's fun. It's cartoony as far as like art style goes, and it's one of my favorite things in the entire freaking planet is ragdoll animations.
Oh yeah.
You get if you're a spellcaster and you kill an enemy with a fireball, like skeleton's head will pop off and they'll go flying across the map, or you just see some ridiculous stuff, man. It's hysterical.
That's awesome. Oh, but so you play with a lot of people that stream. Is there an etiquette that goes with that? Like, are you able to talk to your chat, or do you talk to your chat with your mic open so that their stream picks up your conversation, or how does that work?
Yeah, it definitely depends on who you're streaming with. A lot of people don't, like everyone has different preferences and expectations. Some people just straight up don't care. Some people expect the etiquette. Even if people don't expect the etiquette, I'll try and keep it there. I know like with those two, we all just went mics open because we're all basically advertising each other as we go anyway. Like, hey guys, in case you're wondering, I'm playing with this person, that's whose voice you hear, go check them out. And then at that point, it doesn't really matter. If I, for example, the other night when we were playing, let's say I get a huge raid or something that's going to pull my attention to chat for longer than, a response here and there, then I personally, like a lot of people do push to talk. I don't like push to talk because then you're holding a button the whole time you're talking to each other in a game like that. I do the opposite. I do toggle mute. So
do I.
If I want to talk to my chat for a prolonged period, I'll tell them like, hey guys, I just got ready. I'll be right back. And then I'll mute and I'll talk. Not that I don't talk to my chat while I'm playing with them, but you know what I mean. Longer interactions where I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be listening to you for a second. Then I'll just toggle on and mute. But yeah, it definitely depends on who you're playing with. And a lot of people, good friend Meows, another one of our team members, another streamer, Meows. She always asks people like, you know, oh, I'm just gonna mute. I don't want to bug you. And people tell her like, no, we don't care. Talk to your chat, do your thing. You're streaming. We know you're streaming. That's the whole point. But yeah, some people aren't even comfortable with it. So yeah, it really just depends on the person.
So do you personally prefer when people mute themselves, or do you prefer to be, you know, just mics open kind of guy? What do you like? Usually
mics open, because I feel like there's a lot of times where like if you let's say I'm playing a game with someone and they're muted, if you're if your chat is popping enough that you've got to mute, I feel like a lot of times like I'm going to be trying to talk to you and I won't get a response, or you'll forget you're muted, or you'll, you know, something like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I feel like it's just easier to leave mics open, because then I can hear if I'm like, that's the other thing too from my end is like, if you're talking to your chat and you're muted, but I don't know that you muted to talk to your chat, I don't know if or that I'm interrupting you at that very moment. Like you might be trying to say something and I might be trying to get your attention and be like, yo, why aren't they responding? Oh, yeah, because they're talking to their chat, but I didn't know. So at least that way, if, you know, if mic's open and someone's like, hey, so-and-so, thanks for the resub. Hey, so-and-so, thanks for the raid. At least I know to like stay mouth shut and not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So I see you have a really good mic setup right there. And I noticed that you conduct yourself very well. I'm very poor with my mic. I should be right here. I should be talking technically this close to the mic, but I don't. You have a really good etiquette with your equipment. So I'm assuming you're really well versed with audio equipment. Would that be a safe assumption?
Yes and no. You give me a lot more credit than I do. Actually. So yeah, I was actually a certified sound engineer, which is not saying as much as it sounds like, because I lost all of that knowledge after years of not practicing any type of audio editing. Although I do make a lot of like alerts and edits for people for funsies on Twitch, but I haven't like been in a studio or anything. But funny story, I have nothing but tech problems.
I think everyone does, man. You don't have to worry about that.
God, true story. But yeah, no, I had, God, there's a story for you. Let me tell you my audio story. So I had been using, like way back years ago when I first started streaming, I wanted to jump right into it. I wanted to, you know, I'm not going to stream with a headset mic. That's stupid. I wanted to buy a microphone.
Yeah.
Which by the way, anyone that's streaming, anyone that's listening right now that plans on streaming, my first word of advice to you is audio is important. If you're brand new, don't worry about spending $400 on a mic until you know it's something you're going to do.
Yeah.
Which is exactly where I'm going with this story. Learn from my mistake. So I was a big supporter of Razer products back in the day, as most people are, especially if you're a gamer, you buy Razer products, whatever. Now I will not buy a single product from Razer, and I will tell you why. I had bought the Razer made a microphone. It's called the Siren, although it's spelled like Seiren, I think. Siren.
Something like that.
They had two versions of it. They have the Siren, which is a USB microphone. They have the Siren Pro, which is USB and XLR. Figure most people know what XLR is, but just in case you don't, it's the big fat 3-pin microphone cable. That's how you plug into things like amps and what have you, if you're recording
mixers,
or doing a live show, whatever. So I bought the Pro because at the time I had just finished my certification, and I thought, wow, how cool would it be if I could use this for streaming, but also have an XLR option for if I do any type of recording at home. Two birds, one stone. A microphone was $250, which at the time I had not done any research as far as like USB mics go, streaming microphones, options, things like the Yeti, that a lot of startups use. Like, I did not do my research. Do not be me. I did not do my research. I wanted the Razer product, I love Razer. They make good stuff. I trust them. Yeah, big mistake. So I bought this microphone, and I learned upon arrival that it did not have it. This thing is huge. If you guys have not seen this thing, y'all ever buy a tube of like Pillsbury cinnamon rolls?
Oh yeah, I love popping them too. So
it's shorter and fatter, but like not a whole lot shorter. I mean, the thing is,
so a cylinder, like this giant cylinder thing.
Oh yeah, no, it's unrealistically massive. So, you look at it and at first like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You don't really think about it. But I had put it on. I had got this really. So like you look at me now, you see I have a boom arm. I bought a Rhodes. Rhodes makes a boom arm that's like the top seller on Amazon. It's also like one of 3 options on Amazon. It's $100. At the time, I didn't have the money, nor did I want to spend the money on a boom arm. So I bought this crappy little $13 boom arm that was probably half the size and had springs for pressure.
Yeah.
And so I put this microphone on the boom arm.
Oh, I can already tell where it's going. It went straight down.
Yep, it would just fall. And so I found the the sweet spot. I had this one spot where I could just leave my microphone and it would work. But if you guys could picture a backwards N was the shape it made, right? So it was like the boom arm was a perfect upside down V, and then the microphone came up one more time.
Yeah.
The V point between the microphone and the stand, if you guys, hopefully everyone is still with me on this image. That corner was right above my hand on my mouse because of where the mic had to sit, and I couldn't lift it because it would just fall back down to that point. The weight was too much. This thing couldn't handle it. Now here's the other side of this. A shock mount, again, I'm speaking in terms, I'm not trying to treat anyone like they're stupid. It's just in case anyone listening does not know. A shock mount is what holds the microphone on a boom arm. It also is quite literally that. It is a shock mount. It is a mount for the microphone that is supposed to absorb any kind of, I bumped my microphone or whatever. Razer's microphone, because they are genius marketeers, for lack of a better word, you can only buy their shock mount.
Yep.
The microphone is so freaking huge that you can't just use any shock mount. For one, it doesn't fit. And for two, it doesn't hold the damn thing. Their shock mount is another $50.
So the mic was $250, the arm was $100, and then the shock mount was $50.
Yes, sir.
So now you're $400 basically in the hole.
Bingo. So yeah, so I got this shock mount that just added more weight to the boom arm. That's how I ended up with the nice $100 one. So all of a sudden, one day, I boot up my computer. Now this microphone, it had a little LCD screen, so you could see you could see if it was muted or not, and the button for the mute lit up too, right? So like if it was green, you were live. If it was red, you were muted. The LCD screen would show you as well. It would show you your gain level, and it would show you what polar pattern you chose.
I mean, I hope that giant cylinder showed all that much, because that sounds like it's a huge thing.
Oh yeah, and no doubt, man. And so you could pick between 4 polar patterns. And again, for the people that don't know what that means, a polar pattern on a microphone basically just determines the direction in which audio is picked up from a microphone. So most microphones have a cardioid polar pattern. It's called that because it's shaped like a heart, and it just picks up audio from the front. So you can pick between one of 4 patterns, and it would show you that too. So one day I boot up my computer, and the LCD on my mic starts going crazy. I mean, like strobe light flashing. And I'm going, that's probably not good.
Yeah.
So I go into any kind of program I can to test the thing. No audio, none. And I'm doing reboots and troubleshooting, and you restart my computer, and
you're getting the sweats because you know that you just spent a ton of money on this thing. That's what I do.
Yep. And mind you, this is now what 2 years after. Like that, I mean, I got some time out of the microphone.
Yeah.
But this is where they irritated me. So, long story short, on this part, yeah, multiple troubleshooting. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. It picked if it had its good day or its bad day. It would just start doing it, whatever. So I did some research. Come to find out that the microphone has a driver interaction with Windows 10 that basically it doesn't work. Now the crazy thing, you do any kind of research, and this is why I stopped buying from Razer, because Razer has it on their website, and their website literally says, we don't have an updated driver for this, so if it happens, sorry. Like, that's really not good. But yeah, all of the forum posts and all of the anything I could find basically said, yes, there is a driver interaction. The Windows 10 prevents this microphone from working. And I went, well, that's ridiculous, because I've had it working for, whatever, a year and a half, 2 years. So that can't be true. I did a little more research, come to find out that it was true, but it was literally hit or miss. That's the crazy part. Every time that you boot up your computer, this driver decides whether or not it wants to work. And so there's some people that, immediately upon buying the microphone didn't work with Windows 10. There's some people that had it for a year and it would stop working. Some people had it for 2 years and it would stop working. It just decides one day that it's not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
And it was insane. I managed to be lucky enough to get 2 years out of it, and then the driver just went, nah, and it just stopped. Jeez. And so I had to get a new mic. But yeah, that being said, then I had bought a little mixer that had XLR plugins, because now that's the only way I can run this microphone, and the mixer broke. So I had to buy my next mic.
Man.
So I had to replace the mixer, but then because I had the mixer, there was no point in getting a USB microphone, because I had the XLR. So I had to buy my next microphone as XLR to use the inputs, which is a couple extra dollars. Yeah, it was crazy, man. My audio setup to get to where I'm at now. But as far as etiquette goes, it's because I had in my old house where I was at, the setup I had forced me to look away from my microphone. Yeah. And so everyone was always complaining that I was too quiet, because the microphone wasn't all up in my face. And so I had to do a bunch of different repositioning things, and it just kind of came with practice.
So do you have a dynamic mic? Because from what I understand, dynamic mics, they don't pick up so much noise. You can put gates on it to stop background noise from happening. Because it's very tough sometimes, even with the Blue Yeti mic, even turning the gain down on it, you still pick up a lot of background noise because it's not a dynamic mic.
A couple of different ways to look at it. So first things first, to answer your question, no, I'm pretty sure mine is a condenser. I have the AT2020. Yeah, it is a cardioid condenser. So condensers are generally better for anything vocal. Like if we were recording a song together right now and I want to adjust your vocals, I would prefer a condenser microphone. And this is one of those parts where I have the knowledge and it's just left my brain after so many years of not doing it. I used to know every type of microphone inside and out. Now I don't even remember the differences. But dynamic microphones have a fat magnet in them. It's basically how it picks up audio. And anyone out there that knows audio is probably just hating me right now. But yeah, I forget why, but condensers are generally better for vocal, and anything you do is going to have a different outcome based on your setting, right? Like if I'm using a dynamic microphone to stream with, no one's going to know if my microphone's a dynamic or a condenser just by how I sound.
Yeah, no.
But if I'm doing stupid stuff like literally smacking my microphone with a metal bar, you're gonna hear.
I mean, if you have a better mic, I should say, not just like a headset mic, people won't really notice that much of a difference. I mean, not saying they all sound the same, but like the quality, when you spend a little bit more money, you kind of get, a better mic. So.
Absolutely. I would definitely recommend, like, not to go back on what I said earlier, but I would definitely recommend investment in audio. But my point was, make sure it's something you're going to do to justify the purchase.
And research. Yeah.
Yes, please, for the love of research. But that being said, you can get so I've had this AT2020. I got mine on sale. Usually it's $150. I got mine for just under $100. And I've had this microphone for just about, what are we at now? 3 years now.
And do you like it? With
no problem. I love the thing. I got to be honest, and I'm not hating on anyone that uses them. I'm not hating on people that think it's a great mic for startups, because it is. I'm not a fan of the Yeti, and I will tell you why. I don't think it is a consistent microphone. What I mean by that is everyone's going to do different. You know, you sound different than I do just because of how human beings work, but also, you know, there's different things that you can do to your audio quality, right? So like we use, you know, compressors and gates, like you said, what have you. But generally speaking, level of quality is going to be the same. I don't get that from the Yeti. If I go to one person's stream and they're using a Yeti, and I pull up another dude's stream side by side and they're using a Yeti, it's different. It's different every time. I just feel like the microphone needs too much help to be a high quality consistency. But for the cost, definitely cannot go wrong.
I'm not going to sound rude by all means, but maybe they have it on a different, different setting, just in general. Maybe they have it on,
Mono?
Yeah, I can't remember. It's been a while since I remember the names of the terms. Bidirectional, thank you. Yes. Maybe they have it on a different setting, because I've accidentally, I didn't have mine on cardioid when I first started using it in general, and I sounded like crap. And I can't remember what setting it was on. But then I was like, why do I sound like this? And I started Googling it. And I'm like, that's why. Okay. And then I switched it back. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I sound better now. But because I didn't know, when I bought this mic, I read a bunch about it on Amazon. It was like, hey, this is a great mic for startups. It has all these settings, gain, volume, mute. It's really good for doing vocals or voiceovers. So I was like, yeah, this is USB. I was like, yes, this is the mic for me. And then I started really getting into it, and I didn't do my research like you said, and I bought it, and I was like, all right, I know this. This is just plug it in, it works, yeah. And it wasn't set to cardioid, and I didn't know that, or I maybe switched it when I started, and I sounded like crap. So that's on me.
Possible, and that's one of those things that is for sure is personal preference. And you know, and like I said, I'm not hating on the Yeti at all. I think it's a great mic for starters. You know, I have my own qualms with it, but by no means is it a bad microphone. And Blue, for sure, Blue knows what they're doing. They're a great audio what's the word I'm looking for?
Company?
They produce good products. You know?
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. I'm not hating at all. I think it's a good mic. I just, like I said, personal preference.
No, yeah, absolutely.
2020, I love it. But yeah, for sure, do your research, figure out your preference. But you, by no means, even this far into the game, I don't feel any kind of obligated to, oh, it's time for an upgrade. I'm going to go spend $600 on a microphone. It's just not needed.
So with that said, if someone doesn't have more than $100 to spend on a mic, but they kind of want to get the professional quality sound, is there a mic that you would recommend? Or maybe they can just reach it by going a little bit over 100, but say when we streamers, we don't really think about it. We're just like, you know what? I want to stream, but I want some good quality, in my sound. So let me invest a little bit into the microphone. What would you recommend, I guess?
I'd still recommend the Yeti, because the Yeti is going to be, so like I said, the AT2020 is 150. What's the Yeti at now? I think it's 80, something like that.
Yeah, I think that was a Black Friday sale or something. It was 70, but I think you're right. I think it's about 90.
I'm gonna look it up right now. Yeah, I think it's 80 or 90. But as I'm looking this up, I'll just finish my thought. If you're trying to stay, okay, so the Yeti now is 130. So actually,
oh man, comparatively
speaking, it's just about the same. It looks like. So, and I'll check Amazon too. But yeah, I think if you're trying to save a buck, believe it or not, yeah, it's on sale for $100 on Amazon.
Nice. I love Amazon.
So right. They also have one called the Blue Snowball.
Yeah.
This tiny little ball. That one's usually 60. It's on sale for 42 right now. I'm looking at.
That's really good, actually.
Yeah, it is. And so to answer your question, there's always options, right? I mean,
yeah.
Quality, yes, a lot of quality is in the mic, but if you're for the sake of the conversation, let's say you're brand new to streaming and you want that quality that, at this point, anything you do is going to be better than your headset or your webcam. A lot of webcams now have webcams in them, or microphones in them, and they sound very distant. It sounds like you're streaming from your bathroom.
Yeah.
You're kind of yelling in a very reverb heavy, hallway. There's plenty of options. And I think, like, if I could give anyone advice, it would be figure out the mic and then do research on like filters, right? There's so much tweaking you can do to audio that a lot of people don't know about. Things like compression, things like noise gates, so on and so forth. I had a buddy the other day who actually, I went into a stream. Almost every time I go into a stream, he's so quiet. And the other day it was so bad I couldn't even hear him. And I said, dude, your audio is way too low. I can't hear you. And he said, oh, hang on a second. Okay, hang on. And he takes a minute and he adjusts something and he goes, okay, how's that? Oh my God, so much better. He goes, yeah, I turned my gain up a lot. I don't like usually being up this high because I tend to yell. I said, well, what's your compressor set at? And he said, what's a compressor? Now, not to hate on him.
No.
Because some people just don't know. I wouldn't have known if I didn't go to an audio school. Because I wouldn't have even known to look for
I had no idea for the longest time, man. I still do after production, like audio, like editing. And it took me a while to figure out, like, I can add that stuff to it too later on. So I don't technically have to have it now. But if you're streaming, it's something you want to have because it makes your sound, your audio sound so much better.
Definitely. And so with that being said, like, things like compressors are great. And for people in situations like that, like, there might be someone listening right now that's like, oh God, what's a compressor? And they're looking it up. Like, I hope you do, because they're great tools. Just little tiny digital tweaks that you can put on your stuff. You don't need, a $300 mixer. You don't need any of that stuff. It's all built into OBS or whatever else you're using. But yeah, definitely look that stuff up, because it's great to know. Yeah, man. Like,
even like I use Audacity sometimes to edit audio, and it's a free software. If you do after production or after recording, you want to edit your own audio. Say you want to do a clip or something, splice it up, and your audio sounds really crappy. You can take it into Audacity. Audacity is a free software you can get, and you can do you can add a compressor to it. You can do noise reduction. You can do limiters. Like, you can do so much. And like, I had to do so much. I'm still messing with my audio because I know it doesn't sound great. So like, every episode of my podcast is like, audio is up, down, because I'm still trying to figure it out, because there's so much to it to learn. There's so many like terms. There's so many levels you can set it at. So it's so tough to know. So do a lot of research. And I finally did my research. And I think this podcast, and you can tell me if it is bad or good. I'm going to try different settings in Audacity to see if I can get a better sounding podcast. But you can be the judge. You can let me know afterwards, I guess. So. For sure. Yeah, no, Audacity is a great tool, because a lot of people don't know that. Like, so for example, when I went to that certification program, I got Pro Tools. A lot of people know about Pro Tools. It's like the industry standard for audio editing, but it's so expensive. Kind of like if you're a digital artist, I'm sure everyone's familiar with like Photoshop or Adobe, whatever. Just the Adobe suites in general are expensive.
Exactly. So Pro Tools is kind of like that for the audio world, where if the program itself, depending on which one you get, and they update it every like 9 months now, 10 months, but if you buy a new Pro Tools, I think without all the bells and whistles, I think it's like $200 to $400 depending on which one you buy. Jeez. And then they have things called plugins, and a plugin is basically what we're talking about. Like, OBS has filters. If you're using something like Pro Tools, they're called plugins, and it's called a plugin because you plug it into whatever whatever channel strip you're using, whatever little clip it plugs in to the program so that you can use it. And plugins are stupid expensive, man. So if you were to buy, I think, Waves, I think is what it's called. I'm drawing a blank on the name, but there's a pack. It's like a starter friendly pack that gives you, it's one of the industry standards for plugins. If you're just going to buy a general pack that you can rely on and has all the plugins in it.
Yeah,
I think that's like $800 or something.
Jeez,
like
oh man.
Yeah, man,
That's why I love Audacity. It's free.
Exactly, and Audacity comes with those. I don't think they call them plugins. I think it's just an effects list.
Yeah, they have a ton of effects too. Just a ton of them.
Does all of them. So yeah, if anyone out there is trying to tweak some audio and have some fun, Audacity, shout out to them. Hashtag not sponsored, but
yeah, right.
For real, they'll do everything you need without the money spent. So,
man, we've covered so much on the podcast. We talked about audio. We talked about your love for law. Oh, actually, no, we talked about that before the podcast. Oh man, we didn't even talk about that. No, maybe we should talk about that now because I was like thinking about it and I was like, oh yeah, he loves law as a joke, but I know you said you had a little bit of a rant to go, but you can go ahead by all means.
Oh god, yeah. So before the podcast we were talking about League of Legends and how I used to play. So yeah, no, for real, I used to play the game. I think it was like 6 hours a day every day for god, however many years. I can't keep track of how they do seasons anymore. I started tail end of season 2 and I stopped playing. I love season 3. Anyone that knows me has already heard this rant, so they already know. Like I would go back to League. They did WoW Classic. If Riot came out with like a launcher that let me just revert it to season 3, I would definitely go back to playing it 6 hours a day every day. But season 4 I didn't like as much, and then I thought season 5 was a really crappy joke, and it just from there took a spiraling plane crash. But
I've never put it that way before. I never heard it put that way before. So geez,
I managed to get away from it for like 9 months. And isn't it crazy how I have to talk about it? Like it's my buddy used to tease me. He goes, you know what it is? Because I stopped playing for 9 months, and I would still watch all of the teaser trailers for the new champions and what they do, and read the abilities and the patch notes, but I didn't play it. I had quit. My buddy came to me one day and he's like, you know what this is? League is your crazy ex-girlfriend. He was like, think about it, right? Think about it. Y'all split, you broke up, but you're still checking up on her. You look at her social media.
Don't we all though? Don't we all? We all have that one game that it's like a crazy ex. It doesn't matter who you are or what you've done, everyone knows. And if you're telling me right now, oh, I don't check up on my ex, you're lying to yourself right now because you definitely do.
Yeah, so that was League of Legends for me, man. I quit for like 9 months. I kept checking up on it. I was staying up to date to see, just in case if I ever went back, I wasn't so far out of the loop. And then sure enough, I did. I went back. I thought I was free. I got sucked back in. But when I came back, I only played 1, 2, maybe 3 times a month for like viewer games because I have a lot of friends that still play and stream League.
Yeah.
And I played for maybe another season, and I went, my God, I was right the first time. This game is total ass. And I stopped. I haven't played for a couple years now because I hate everything it's turned into. They change the game every 3 months. It's a whole new game. Every preseason, every half season is a whole new game, and none of it is good.
Yeah.
New champions come out, and it's,
Hey man, I actually really enjoy it. I just started playing again, and I got addicted to it again. Like I started playing it. I actually really enjoy it, but I understand your frustrations. They did a lot of stuff to some of the characters. It changed a lot of things. Like I absolutely hated Nunu a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
And they just changed Nunu that Nunu's bearable, which is kind of funny because my running joke with my friends was like when I got Nunu, they are like, oh man, this is gonna be an awful game because he's gonna rage, because I would get so much rage build up because I used to play ARAMs a lot just because I didn't know anything better and I just wanted to learn the characters better. So ARAMs was my thing that I wanted to learn each character and how to use their spells and abilities.
A lot less pressure too.
Yes. Because, going like mid, top, bottom, jungling, you had to know your roles and you had to know, because I didn't know what I was doing at first. I helped the jungle try to take out a monster and I got the final hit on him when I wasn't the jungler. So I got the buff, he didn't. Then we ended up our whole team just got crushed because of me. Too much pressure, too many people yelling at you. So I play Rams most of the time anymore, but. Neither here nor there, but I hear you. We all have that game that WoW is my game. I love it, and I still look at it, still watch it when it comes out. But then like I just like can't indulge in it because I'm like, I'm gonna get sucked back in and I'm gonna start raiding, and I hate raids. So I'm like, I can't do that. I'll look from afar. It looks awesome. I'll say great job, Blizzard. Did it again, but like I won't do it.
Well, God, and wouldn't it be nice too if you could enjoy raid content without the amount of actual work and preparation it required? Like that, I think that's the biggest thing about it is if you're not in a guild or you don't have 30 friends and that play WoW, and then like you get into it and it's like even if you weren't the kind of person that didn't want to do it, like if you really did want to do it, but you didn't, I have 2 friends with a subscription and I don't like playing with random people because they're mean, and I don't have 5 hours a day I don't have 5 hours a day to raid, let alone 5 hours a day to practice with freaking voiceover preparation of like, okay, so we need to make sure that group A goes to this side of the map when like no one has time for that.
Man, especially learning the fight too, man. It's the most oh man. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but like they're like, okay, when you're hit with this dot, like you need to go in this circle and make sure that no one else gets hit. So then like I'm like slinging spells all over the place and I get hit with a dot and I don't think about it. I'm still slinging spells. And like everyone's like, go, go, go. I'm like, oh God. I start running and I'm dead and everyone else is dead because I didn't pay attention well enough. Like I'm just like trying to focus on my rotation. You know what I mean? It's just too much stress, man. Too much stress.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of people that are like super elitist when it comes to doing it right. Like it's hard to be a new person in it because it's almost like you're not allowed to learn it. People just expect you to either know it or not. You know what it reminds me of? Honestly, I think this is why it frustrates me. Y'all ever look for like, let's say you're looking for a new job and every job posting is like, must have 2 years of experience. But if everyone asks you to have experience,
touche.
You get the experience.
And then you go into the interview and you're like, hey, I have 2 years experience. I know what I'm doing. And then like you get into the thing and they're like, you're like put to the test and you're like, yeah, I may have exaggerated. And then they're like, well, you're definitely not the person for the job. I've been kicked out of raids before. I'm not going to lie. Because they're like, you know what you're doing. And I'm like, I know what I'm doing. And they mounted my DPS because they're the DPS charts.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd have like, I was a warlock and like I did tons of DPS. Like I was on the top of my charts in my guild and like on top of the charts like in other raids. But then sometimes like when I just hopped into random raids that I didn't research and they're just like, don't tell me what to do. And they're like, you know what to do. I'm like, of course I do. And then it goes down and I don't know what I'm doing. And then I get hit with something and then I'm supposed to go somewhere and I don't. That's when they're like, dude, you need to get out of here. I've been told to get out, so it's whatever.
Yeah. Being a healer in Final Fantasy 14 is brutal. If you get someone that doesn't know or does know but is just too bad to do it, like if that's where I've seen the elitists. Because I'll be the second healer in the party, and man, they show some teeth. Healers will not take your BS.
My favorite is when you have a crucial role in a game, like a tank or a healer. And you don't do what they tell you to do. Like, they're just like, oh, see ya. Like, you're like, I remember multiple times when I was a tank and someone would just like, I was mopping up some creatures because they were on like the healer or something like that. And a DPS would run up and hit something huge and pull it and just think that I would pull it away from them. So I'm just like, all right, man, have fun. See ya. Like, you're going to die. Like, I'm just going to let you die so you learn your lesson. But I love it. It's so much fun when that happens. At least, whatever. I'm gonna let go, but
no, same. Godspeed. Good luck.
Yeah. So, man, we talked about a lot of different things actually in this podcast, and we talked a lot about audio, which I'm excited about. But other than audio, is there something that you would recommend for some streamers to do or to get to really help them get to a different level and the next level in streaming? Maybe to get a little bit more people interested in their streams.
As far as like hardware?
Anything. Could be anything. Or it's just techniques, tips you've learned over the time. Anything.
Man, not really. I mean, so here's the thing, right? We've gotten to a point where, streaming has really evolved as far as what it is. Like, God, I hate to sound cliche, but it's so true how far we've come with, not even just this platform, but, they got Mixer coming up and YouTube has their own streaming service, and people are always finding new tools, be it hardware or software. It's kind of insane. I don't really have any recommendations, but on the inverse, I would give advice to like not get, don't get drawn in by stuff that drains your bank account. If understand yourself, understand your content, understand your community and your growth, so that if it's really worth the money. I'll give you the perfect example, right? You've seen the Stream Deck. Everyone wants a Stream Deck.
Yeah.
Great tool. No doubt about it. Stream Deck is a great tool. Now, I put off buying one for, I think, a year and a half, almost 2 years after it was made and everyone started buying them. I didn't want one because I looked at it and I was like, man, you got me all sorts of blanked up if you think I'm gonna spend $150 on a little thing of buttons that like I could map this to any part of my keyboard, especially if you have a number pad. Fun fact, my keyboard does not have a number pad, but I'm like, man, there's so many other ways to do this. Why would I spend $150 on it?
Yeah.
And then people started telling me, well, no, like it does other things, because it's not just hotkeys, it's not just buttons. It ties into all these programs, and you can make it do these specific things and whatever. And now that I know how it works and what it does, yeah, I love mine. But I'll be honest, man, I still don't think the thing is, but I've had mine for over a year now and I love it and I get use out of it. I think it's insane that it costs $150. And okay, on Black Friday it's $100, not $150. That's a terrible argument, because if you can really, if you're really sitting there listening to this podcast and that's the argument you just said out loud, shame on you, because there's no way something like this is worth $100. I'm sorry. No offense to Elgato. I think it's a great product. I love mine. I use mine. I'm not denying that, but God, why is stuff so expensive? And so that applies to everything that you buy, man. That would be my advice. Do I think there's anything you could get to take you to the next level? Sure. There's plenty of things. Whether or not they're right for you and whether or not they're worth the money is really your call. Hell, your bank account might look a lot nicer than mine, and this isn't a conversation. For your sake, I hope it is. But there's so many things that you can, and of course, as people that use computers, we have plenty of options between Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Sure, if you're patient, you can wait, you can get a good deal, but I don't think it's necessary in a lot of ways. Multiple screens, actually, that's what I'm going to throw out. If you're going to do anything as a streamer or video editor, what have you,
good call. Please
give yourself at least a second monitor. It changed my life. I told my buddy that I would never find a use for 3. He set me up for 2 screens, and I went, yeah, I guess I could make it work. And then I never had my second monitor off. And he goes, well, you could use 3. And I went, dude, I'm never going to find use for 3 monitors.
Don't do this to me.
Dude.
Don't do it. Don't say it.
Oh, man.
Don't say it. Don't say it, because I have no. I have 2. And I was like, should I get 3? Should I do 3? Because I want to do 3. Why not do 3? I'm like, I'll never use the 3rd monitor. Don't do this to me.
Okay, well, hold up. Let me elaborate.
Go ahead, by all means.
Because I definitely don't need 3, but here's why I love it. When I'm streaming, so what I used to do is my main monitor would have, whatever I'm playing on it, the entire monitor. And then my second monitor would have, I personally like to keep an eye on OBS, because OBS gives me information that a lot of people don't care about that I do. For example, the bottom right corner of OBS tells you what your bitrate is sitting at, if it's fluctuating, if you've dropped frames, if you're dropping frames because it's fluctuating. I don't really need the entire window, but if OBS is going to be open anyway, I'll use that as my channel preview, because 1, there's no delay, and 2, that lets me, OBS is going to be open anyway. I can close the preview on the Twitch dashboard and save myself some resource. So I leave OBS open. So what I would do is I would leave OBS open, and then I would cover half the screen with my Twitch chat, and my, if you want to use like Stream Labels is a tool that Streamlabs offers, so you can see your recent event list in case you miss it in your alerts for whatever reason. Or I can see my alert right away in OBS, which is why I keep it open, what have you. My point is I had like 4 windows open on my second monitor just to give myself everything I needed. And that works, and that's fine. I did it for a long time. But the second I got my third monitor, see, I have piss poor eyesight. Like my chat knows. My face is in my screen when I'm trying to read something, and I mispronounce names because I see letters wrong. The greatest thing I ever did with my third monitor was, it's actually a monitor that can do portrait. So I turn it sideways.
Yeah.
I have it lengthwise. Dang. And I literally now, dude, my third monitor is entirely my chat, and I raised my font to be huge. So I don't miss a single thing in my chat now. I love it. That's why I use 3. So no, it's not a necessity, but I would say that 2 for sure is, if you're going to do anything like this, it just gives you so much playability.
Absolutely. That's great. That's a great idea. And may I tack on research. I will reiterate what you said earlier, because research is huge. I remember buying my first Blue Yeti mic, and I was like, yes, I got an awesome professional thing, and I didn't think to do any more research to see what I can do with it or what I needed to do to make my quality better. I just thought that once I bought the equipment would do all the work for me, but that is incorrect. You actually have to know your device, to know what you need to set it at to make yourself sound better, and even then, knowing to like go into OBS and change some of the audio settings in general into OBS or something. You got to know your software, your hardware. You have to know everything. So if something goes wrong, which it will go wrong. Let me tell you, spoiler alert, it will. You'll have to figure it out yourself or ask somebody. And it's easier for you to sort through this mess instead of me having to contact someone and be like, hey man, hurry up. Can you please help me with this when you're trying to go live? So man, this has been an awesome conversation, and I'm happy to finally get to dive into some audio, because I haven't had a chance to really dive into audio with anybody. And now that I'm all about audio, I'm excited to actually talk to someone about it. So that was awesome. But I'm happy to have you on the podcast, my man. And thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And thanks for listening to this episode of the Rad Gaming Podcast. Be sure to rate and subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere else you listen to podcasts. I release a new episode every Wednesday. And as always, stay rad, comrades.